Hey, awesome to have you back here at the Dice Doctor. We are going to work through a system, pass line system, double odds versus single odds, and 10 random shooters. What I've done is I've created in my Google Drive kind of this random number generator. I'm not exactly sure if it does complete, 100% random. I guess mathematically. There's a lot of different sites to get shooting rolls, but I put together that spreadsheet based on something I found on the internet. I will post that link as well, and basically you punch in a number, and away you go. You get a whole 100 rolls of randomness. So using those numbers, I punched them into a spreadsheet here to show you how the game works. Generally speaking, the bankroll that we're starting with is a $350 bankroll. It's a $10 pass line bet plus 25 odds on the 6 and 8. And basically, we're waiting for a qualified shooter. So initially, we start off here with a point of 8. And you can see that the shooter qualifies. We haven't made any bets at all. So we haven't made an initial bet or have a touched our bankroll. It starts with our first bet. So the point is established. We put 10 on the line. And a 5 is established as the point. And we take 20 odds. So we've started by taking $30 from our bank. And as you can see through the roll, we get a win. So on the win now, we pick up on our pass line bet a $10 win. So a total of $20 from the line. And then on our $20 odds bet that we had made originally, we're going to pick up that $20 plus $30 at odds, so $50. So the total that we pick off the table is $70. I take that $70 and I put it in the bottom rack. And if you go back to the Dice Doctor here, and I think one of the previous posts that we had, which is here, excuse me one sec, okay, and you can see that there's where my bank is, and there's the lockup underneath. This is where I put my winnings. So I put all the $70 here, and now I grab from this lockup rack my next bet. So I take $15 from here and move that onto the table. And now you can see that the shooter rolls a natural. So what happens is you lock up the remainder, which is $25. It stays on that bottom rack. And now I stack my $15 win that I just captured with the natural, the 11. And now I have $30 on the line, and the shooter rolls a 6. So what happens now is I don't lock anything up. I take that $60 that's on the line and I parlay it. I leave it there. I stack it up. And again, he rolls an 8. And now I need him to roll an 8 to bring home the parlay. He does not roll an 8. He sevens out. So the total lockup remains that $25 that I had originally won. And as you can see, and the confusion for a lot of players, when you're on a parlay, you do not take odds. So I do not take odds on the 6. I do not take odds on the 8. And you're probably asking yourself, well, gee, you left a lot of money on the table because it's a free bet to take odds on the 6. Why wouldn't you take odds there? And the reason is, one, you have to have the right bankroll to play that way. We don't. We have established our bankroll based on this system of play. And so by taking more money out of our bankroll to lay odds on parlays, you're actually exposing yourself to greater risk. Even though it's a zero vig game, it's still a risk. You're still an underdog. So the argument is we don't. We've put those odds on the line and risked them at what we consider to be the best bet in the game, which is the opening roll, pass line roll, and trying to take advantage of a string of naturals or points that way, okay? So now we continue the play. He rolls an 8, and he qualifies with a win, and that's fantastic. There's no waiting around. So now, again, you start from the bank. So you take now, again, beautiful old school craps picture, by the way. I wish it wouldn't rotate, but it does. But I'm going to go here to show you the bank again so you can see it. Okay, but you basically are taking from the bank. We won't go back and forth anymore because that's obviously a clusterfuck. So what we'll do, though, is you can see you take 10 from the pass line, 20 odds, 30 from the bank, and now he summons out. So you lose $40. Okay, so that, again, comes from your bank. Now we got a natural win. You're not on the line. And again, you bet 10 on the line, and now you take 25 odds because he's rolled a 6 as this come out after the qualify. and that's a subtraction of 35 from the bank. And what you'll notice is it's tough when you talk about 10 qualified shooters that you've bankrolled $35 a shooter times 10, total of $350. But your first shooter, you only took $30 from the bank. Your second shooter, you only took $30 from the bank. So already you can see that it's going to be more than 10 qualified shooters. Now you have that extra $10 in there, and that's generally what happens. You actually end up betting on between, I'd say, 12 and 15 qualified shooters, depending on how many times you get a natural on the come out. So, you're actually bankrolling yourself for a good set of shooters. When you're talking about 15 qualified shooters, you're probably talking more like 45 shooters overall, because not everyone qualifies. So you're sitting out and waiting and waiting and waiting, and you're gambling on 15 shooters. You can see that just that strategy alone allows you to stay at the table, and then you're waiting for that hot shoot. So here we go. We get a win. Again, we pick up our pass line win of $10 and our odds win of 30 on our 25. So total of $55. So it's a $75 pickup. And you put that in your lockup and you take your next bet, and he rolls a 5. And so now you take $15 out of that lockup stash that you just picked up and 30 odds and put it on the table, and you lose it. Okay? So you end up locking up $30. So now on the bottom lockup, you have that original $25, and now you've locked up $30 on that shooter. You've locked up $55. How much have you wagered? Well, you've wagered 3 shooters at 30, 30, and 35. So you've taken $95 out. You've locked 55 up. You're basically down at this point of the system. Okay? So now we get a 5 on the point and no qualifying. We get a 10 on the point and no qualifying. Again, you have not bet on these shooters. You sat out. Now we get a natural winner. So you've qualified. You come in now and bet on the shooter with a 10 and $20. And that's going to be minus $30 from the bank. So we're just going to type that in here. All right. And now we go through and he 7s out. So you lose that $30 from your bank. Okay. And now again, we have a qualifying point of 9. And a win on the 9, and now you come out and you bet on the shooter. And so you bet 10 on the line, and he craps out, okay? So now what you have to do, you have to go back to your bank, and you bet 10 on the line, and again, he rolls a 5 as your point, and he 7s out shortly thereafter. So what happens? You've lost on this shooter, this original $10 that you took out from your bankroll, and you have this $30 that you took out, so you actually lose $40 on that shooter. Now the shooter comes back with a qualifying win of a 7, and you take your 10 and 20 from the bank. Again, I can't stress that enough. And you get a win, okay? And now you take 10 out again, and you bet on this 7. Oh, I'm sorry. So you're taking out 10 here plus 20 odds, and you're winning on the pass line. So now on this shooter here, you would go to $15. Okay, I've left some of these blank to fill out kind of as you go along. And now you have a parlay. So now you're betting the $30 here. Okay, so you're not taking any more money out of your bank, but you're letting it ride. And now he 7s out. Okay, so that's unfortunate. Now we get a qualifying win on the 6. And now we get a natural bet on that qualifying win. You bet $10. You win. You parlay it. Bang. He hits it again. Now you've got $20 on the line. And bang, he hits it again. So your $40 turns into $80 that you pick up. Okay, and that's where I think there's some confusion on that run right there. So again, you get a natural. Okay, so it starts off with a qualifying win. You come in and bet on the shooter. You bet $10 on the shooter. Bang, comes right back with another natural. So now you have $10 that turns into 20, 20 that turns into 40, and you let it ride, and now he establishes a point. So his point is 9 in this case. And what you do is you don't take odds. You don't bet odds while you're on a parlay run, okay? You just let it ride. So again, why don't I take odds here? I'm leaving money on the table. Well, you are and you aren't. In this case, 3 times out of 5 you're going to lose. 2 times out of 5 you're going to win. So those odds bets, even though they're zero vigorish, they eat into your bankroll. So in this case, you'll take the parlay that you have on the line, which is $40 at this point. You'll pick up $80 for your original $10 bet. It's not a bad thing. So now what happens is you've won this $80, you scoop it, and you put it all in your lockup rack. You then take your next bet of $15 and bang, you lay that on the line right here. And now you take the odds of $30 all out of the lockup rack. Okay, so now you move up after your parlay. So now you're betting 15-30 and he sevens out. We're done. You've locked up. Obviously, of the $80, you've taken 45 back out, so you've locked up 35 there. Okay, we've got a qualifying win here. Okay, and again, we go back through kind of what is the standard. You take $30 from your bank, 10 on the line, 20 odds, and now the 9 is rolled, and we got a winner. So what do? You pick up all the money off the table, and you put it in your lockup rack. You then take the next level bet, which in this case would be a $15 bet, and lay it on the table. Now he rolls a natural 7, so you go on a parlay run. He establishes a point of 8. You do not take odds, and the shooter sevens out. And this is very typical of how my night goes. It'd be nice to win all the time, but it doesn't quite happen. And here we have a 0.7 out, and that's kind of I don't know if that's 10 shooters, but at least it gives you an idea of what a typical night looks like in terms of playing the system, okay? Playing the parlays, where you put your money. When I say pick up all the money and put it in your lockup rack, I mean, obviously you've caught on that if your next bet is coming out of that same rack, that, instead of picking it all up and putting it here in the lockup rack, what you can do is you can leave the next bet on the table. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I have a $10 bet at odds, and I win that bet, and I have $55 on the table. I know that the next level bet is $15. So what I'll do is I'll scoop up all the chips except for $15. I'll leave the $15 on the pass line, and I'll put the rest of the money in the lockup rack. And so that usually is where confusion reigns supreme with new players that are playing the Dice Doctor system. They tend to either not understand the top rack, bottom rack strategy where you're playing through your bank into the pass line, into the lockup rack. And then when you're out of money here, you can count up and see where you are here and move up or down levels. That's so important. Or they get confused on the parlay runs. When they're in a parlay, sometimes they add odds when they shouldn't. Sometimes they don't bump up a bet, or they do bump up a bet in the middle of the parlays. So it's important to kind of learn those parlays, because I think that's a key component of Sam Grafstein's strategy. He doesn't go, maybe into as much detail as he should, but my belief is that when he was betting on the right side, when he was playing the pass line system, he was a big believer in the come out roll. I mean, that really was where all the money was won or lost. So I think he likes those runs. I think he believes in those runs. From a dice influencing standpoint, I get the sense that setting and controlling the dice with an all 7 set is somewhat easier. Obviously because it's the easiest number to throw, but I just feel like I have a bigger impact on that opening roll than I do in any other roll. So I certainly enjoy playing an aggressive style in the pass line when a come out roll is being parlayed. I enjoy betting hundreds of dollars on the come out roll. I'd rather have it there than on a point number. All right. So I hope that helps clarify a little bit for those people that are just getting into the Dice Doctor, that are getting into the pass line system. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I hope you enjoyed the video.